Chapter 1. You are listening at famvetv.info. At the school gate, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan stopped and the driver pulled down the door respectfully. Then, a teenager came out of the car. The boy looks 18 years old. He is tall and handsome. Around many girls came to school to see, almost all in full bloom, cannot help but want to close, but the boy's face was gloomy, giving people a feeling that strangers should not enter. The boy's name is Wang Haran. Now, he's in a very bad mood. After all, this kind of thing happens to anyone, no matter who is in a good mood. He's a jumper. Before crossing, he was an orphan, struggling in the big city. Nearly 30 years old, still mediocre, even a girl cannot catch up, is a complete failure. Almost all the bad experiences in his life happened to him. After crossing, he is a rich second generation. That he has a good family background, is handsome and good at learning. Every day I go to school. There is a pick. Up from Kalinin, there is too much pocket money to use up. Originally encountered such a thing, dream will wake up with a smile. In fact, just a few days after crossing, he really felt very happy and laughed in his dreams. After all, his previous life was so bad. There are such excellent living conditions. After crossing, everyone will feel good. But he soon found out that it wasn't that simple. The poor students in the class have made great progress in their academic performance recently, and they also interact occasionally as members of the learning committee of the school flower. In everyone's eyes, Wang Haran and Xiaohua are a perfect match. Although this is not admitted by the school flower, crane tail poor students and school flowers close, those little boys can't help but pay attention. This is not, yesterday called the crane tail poor students to the corner, to carry out a profound education. If three people fight one, they will be crushed. But the result is that three younger brothers were beaten. Wang Haran, who wrote on the internet in his previous life, feels that the plot is familiar. Isn't this the story of the city novel that crane tail turns over to soak school flower, and his own background and conditions are just a template for the rich second generation of villains? After coming up with this idea, Wang Haran couldn't help laughing again, thinking that he might have thought too much. But at this time, the standard system of the Traverser came out. The name of the system is the Super Villain System. Through the system, he knows that he has gone through a parallel world constructed by urban Shuangwen novels. There is no doubt about his identity. He is a proper villain, the rich second generation, and a tool man who is beaten in the face by the protagonist. In the main plot, he constantly confronts with the protagonist, but he fails step by step. When he lives less than 100 chapters, he is ruined by the protagonist. The family property is occupied by the protagonist, so is the favorite school flower. Shit, what's wrong with crossing? I have to cross into a villain. I can't even live 100 chapters. How about me? Wang Haran make complaints about his vomit in his heart. However, it is an established fact, and he also knows that he can't change it. Of course, it doesn't mean that he has accepted his life. Judging from the events in recent days, it is obvious that the plot of the novel has just begun. The protagonist is just beginning to grow up, and can't be just positive with himself that I have more resources than the protagonist. As long as we make good use of these, and we are on guard, our villain is not totally unable to counterattack. Boss. Thinking, a boy wearing a hat came from behind. Under his hat, his face was bruised. Obviously I was beaten. This is one of the three little brothers around Wang Haran. His name is Fan Jian, the other two are Fan Tong and Qin Shousheng. Listen, what are these names? Fan Jian, are you cheap? Fan Tong, you're a loser. Qin Shousheng, animal born. These three are the villains. Obviously, it was deliberately designed by sand sculptors with evil taste. Fan Jian looks embarrassed for fear of contacting Wang Haran's gaze. Indeed, it's a shame. 1. Fan Jian was stared at for a while. Finally, he could not help but admit his mistake. Boss, if you want to fight or scold, you can do as you like. We've disgraced you. Why are you alone, the other two? Wang Haran did not blame, just asked because he knows that it's useless to blame. People have the aura of the protagonist to protect themselves. It's not so easy to be beaten by the three of you. Fan Jian was relieved to see that Wang Haran didn't blame him. He came closer and said with a smile. Back to the boss, I run faster and get a lot less beating, so they are a little weaker. They run slowly and are beaten badly. Half of their face is swelling and changing. It's estimated that they will disappear in a few days. Wang Haoren saw each other's face, and could not help but feel speechless. What kind of cerebral palsy brother does the sand carver give himself? Run fast, less hit, even want to show off in general. What, do you want me to praise you? If you keep smiling, I'll slap you in the face. Wang Haoren really can't stand this cerebral palsy little brother's silly smile, scolded. Boss, don't, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Don't laugh. Fan Jian quickly admitted his mistake and said. Don't worry, boss. I'll get it back. I don't believe it. That boy has 3 heads and 6 arms. Today I'll ask 10 brothers to go. Save it, it's no use. Wang Haoren shook his head. Now that the protagonist is on guard, and the role of the aura of the protagonist, he will continue to call people in the past, just to send sandbags to the protagonist. To say the least, even if the protagonist can't fight, it must be an easy escape. It's useless at all. No use. The boss, my name is 20. There's so much bullshit. It's no use saying it. How can it be? I'll call 30. Why don't you just call you? Wang Haoren couldn't help but burst into a rude remark. Call me mom. Boss, this is not. No way. My mother is so weak that she can't fight. Fan Jian said bitterly. Wang Haoren rubbed his temple. What's cerebral palsy? After trying to resist the impulse to hit someone and calming down for a while. Don't do that again. Ah, boss, the boy is soaking his sister. In law. We can't go on seeing him. Fan Kendo. I ask you, am I handsome or is that boy handsome? Wang Haoren asked his younger brother. Of course it's the boss. You're handsome. What's that guy? At most he has good features. Fan Jian answered without hesitation. There was no meaning of flattery, because it was a fact. Is that my family, or that boy's family? Wang Haoren continued to ask. Boss, your family has tens of billions of assets. That boy's family is ordinary. It's not comparable at all. Is that me or that kid? Boss, you are in the top 10 of the school. If you are a good shuaba, you will be a scum. Is that all? I have such good conditions, can I still lose to the poor boy? What do you want to meddle in? Boss, I understand. It's us who do unnecessary things. Without your order, we won't do too much. That kid doesn't deserve to be compared with you. Fan Jian finally realized. Wang Haoren nodded and looked at the little boy with cerebral palsy with the eyes of Fool Kajiao. Suddenly, a system prompt message appeared in my mind. Ding, guide the younger brother's behavior, change the plot slightly, and get 100 villain points. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.